What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Landaris back at you with another video. Hey, let's say lost a customer today, this morning. Not because anything that had to do with me. They just didn't agree on the bi-weekly price. So I'll give you the scenario. New customer this year, switched from one lawn care to another one. I asked them, why they switched. She switched from, she didn't want the fertilizing plan that they offered, or no, I take that back. So she was with I'm getting on this highway, guys. So she was with a lawn care company. And usually I ask, like, what was it, the last lawn care company? Why are you switching? And some people might think that's rude, but it's good to put that in your vocabulary as far as when you're dealing with a customer that's switching from one lawn care provider to another one, like right away, like mid-season, or they had her for a couple of weeks. Usually you get the spiel where they say, well, they stopped showing up. Well, she just wanted to switch. She really didn't tell me why she wanted to switch, but she wanted to switch. And then she asked me, did I do fertilizer? So I told her, I could drop fertilizer on your property and stuff like that. So she said she was going to switch over from that. So I think the lawn care company was providing her with lawn care and fertilizer, and she said that they did an aeration and overseeding. She's only been there for like 2 years in this place, from what she told me. And her yard didn't look too good in the backyard, and she said they aerated it. And I was like, they aerated it this season? Or she's like, yeah. So I was kind of skeptical about that, because I know what an aerated yard looks like, because I do them all the time. And I know after you aerate that yard and overseed it. Now, maybe they didn't overseed it or whatever. Maybe they just aerated it. I don't know. She didn't give me the full backstory, and I wasn't going to keep trying to pry into it either. So, but anyway, nice lady, all in all. But, your spider senses go off sometimes. So I was like, all right, I'll give her a shot. You know what I'm saying? So I gave her the price. She agreed with it. And she said, she agreed with dropping some fertilizer down. So I was like, okay. And then we discussed about doing aeration and overseeding in the fall time. And I guaranteed her that she'll see a better result from her aeration going into the next season. Like, L&L Lawn Service guarantees you that. I ain't no joke on the aerations and overseeding. You will see a dramatic change when I do your aeration and overseeding. Period. But anyway, cut her yard on a weekly basis, for about, I would say, so what is it? It's June. So probably a month and a half. Been cutting her yard for a month and a half weekly. So whole 6 weeks basically. So this last time I cut it, she sent me a text that says, hey, I want to switch to bi-weekly lawn maintenance. So I'm thinking, okay. And I was looking at her grass too, and it wasn't really growing a lot. She doesn't have an irrigation system. You can see, she was placing her sprinklers around the yard and stuff, where you got to move the hose and stuff like that, and move the sprinklers when you come to mow, which, I was like not fond of that, but at the same time I'm like, okay, she's trying to water her yard, and sometimes they'll just leave it there because it makes it easier, but still it makes it a little bit what's the word? You can get irritated by having hoses and stuff all over the place, and then you got to move them around and move them out the way and stuff when you come to mow the lawn. So I bypassed that, mowed the lawn, and then she's the customer that I talked to about the gate situation. She keeps her back gate locked. So if you haven't looked at some of my videos, go and look at my video. I was talking about her, this particular customer, because I went over there on one of the days that I cut, and she had the gate lock, and we had a discussion about, having a back gate lock, and she said she always has her back gate lock, but she keeps it open for me on Mondays. And I kindly told her, hey, if you can keep the back gate unlocked, I would greatly appreciate it, because sometimes, even though I do have you on a set schedule for Mondays, things could change due to the weather, due to, an emergency, due to my schedule change, things like that. So if I don't cut you Monday, I might cut you Tuesday. If I'm pushing yards and I got things to do on a Monday or Tuesday, I'll cram all my yards in for Sunday and Monday. No, Saturday and Sunday. You know what I mean? So it could change. Your cut date could change due to the fact of one of these situations. So we had that discussion, and she basically was like, well, I stay at home, I work from home, so you can either just ring the doorbell or give me a call and let me know that you're, coming over if it's not on a Monday. And I'm like, okay, that's fair, cool, whatever. I'll ring the doorbell or, give you a text. That's fair, all right, whatever. I'm trying to work with you. So I did that, and the next following week, I cut her grass. And then that's when this week, she said, after I cut her grass, she said, from this day, can you put me on bi-weekly? So her weekly lawn maintenance was $52.50. All right. So I bumped her up. So when she said that, I said, okay, no problem. I said, I'll bump you up to no, I didn't say I'll bump you up. I said no problem. I'll take you off the weekly schedule and put you on my bi-weekly schedule, and your new bi-weekly rate will be, I think I said 85.50, something like that. So you got to remember, in some people's heads, they go from $52 to $85. Now, listen, I'm telling you, I done had people question that, as far as why my bi-weekly is higher than my weekly. And you got to have your spiel for what you're going to say when they confront you with that. And you basically say, hey, you were on a weekly schedule. You wanted to go to a bi-weekly schedule. Here's your bi-weekly rate. You actually are saving money, because some customers don't sit back and think about it. They just looking $50 to $85. That don't make any sense. But you just told me that you want to go bi-weekly. So on my bi-weeklies, I usually bump my bi-weeklies from weeklies to bi-weeklies. I bump it up 50%, and then you'll get a bi-weekly rate. And I got that off of Mike Andes, which kind of makes sense. If you're charging somebody 50 something, you should be charging them a 50-cent per rate on top of your 52. So $52.50 plus 50%, you're going to come in that range of $72, $73, somewhere around that. But it's later in the season, so I'm bumping you up to $85 so that I can make some money off your yard, so I can be profitable on your yard. I'm going to bump it up, not 50%, but I'm going to bump it up a little bit more than 50% so that I can make, some type of profit off your yard, since you want to switch from weekly to bi-weekly. So she was basically saving, and I tell them too in my email, hey, you went from 52 to whatever price, you're saving this much money per month. You're saving this much money per month, and go from there. Now, her grass didn't grow. For some reason, I think they didn't do a good job on the aeration, because I put fertilizer down and it greened it up, but it didn't make it grow at all. It was weird, but that's here nor there. But it would grow on the side of the house because you got the shade and all that stuff. It's just that her whole backyard is open, so the sun is really hitting that backyard. So yeah, but you have to just let your customers know how you do business. It's just plain and simple. If you go from bi-weekly to bi-weekly, is this price. If you go from your weekly price is this, your bi-weekly price is that. Now, I don't have to tell them, my formula. You don't have to go into all the details of your formula, how you, rationalize you going from $52 to $85. You don't have to rationalize that, and in my head, I know if I'm charging you $50, I basically tap on, there's always usually a good $30 that you tap onto it for bi-weekly. So that's kind of my motto too. If I'm charging you, I'm either charging you 50% more for bi-weekly, or I just calculate in my head $30 extra that I tack on to your weekly to make it your bi-weekly, if you know what I mean. So 50, 60, 70, 80. There you go. $30 added to it, somewhere in that range, and I'll give you your bi-weekly estimate. And like I said, it just depends on the season. Is it in the beginning of the season? Is it in the middle of the season? Is it close to late to the season? Because you want to make money on this yard. You want to be profitable on this yard. So for all the people that call you and close to the season ending, you know, you got to bump that price up to make it worth your while. You might say, okay, you know, and explain it to them. We're kind of close to the end of the season. You can bump it up, whatever you was going to charge them. Say, for instance, you think it's a $50 yard or a $55 yard, and at the end of the season, they calling you and they want to be put on the schedule. Well, if that's the case, then it's not really going to be $52. I'm going to bump it up to $60, $65, just so that I know that I'm making some sort of money on your yard at the tail end of the season. And then if you want to proceed to go into the next season, then we can adjust your price accordingly to, you know, the situation and beginning of the season. You know, I might drop it back down to the original price of like $55 instead of $65 or $70. You know what I mean? But your goal is to make money off that yard and be profitable off that yard. That's all it is. That's what you got to do. And, you know, if they don't agree with it, it's okay. It's all right. But like I said, she wanted to be on a bi-weekly, and then I gave her price. And then she hit me back the next following day and said, thank you for your service. I will no longer be needing your service. And I was like, okay, thank you. Have a nice day. And thanks for giving L&L Lawn Service a chance to take care of your property. And I just leave it as that. And that's all you got to do, you know. And either you can, if she calls you back or if they call you back, it's up to you that if you want to take on that customer again. Most likely, I won't take on the customer. But most likely, I might. Who knows? You know, my price is going to be the same price, or it might go up. If you end up calling me back the next following year, and I know it's your yard, I'm probably going to go up on the price just for the simple fact that you like to cancel your services and things like that. You know, they want you to be a person of character and, you know, integrity and things like that when it comes to your business, which you should. But then, as the customer, we are expecting the customer, hey, if you're signing up, now, we don't have contracts. We're going on, hey, you want service? I can provide you service. And this is almost like a verbal contract, like, yeah, I want service. Okay. So when you want service, in our head, we're thinking long term. We're like, okay, I got you locked in for this season to take care of you for weekly lawn maintenance or bi-weekly. So we're already thinking you're going to be a customer for the season. And when you don't be a customer of the season, then it kind of, you know, defeats the purpose of you're wanting lawn maintenance. especially if there's no issues of, being late, not coming to your property. You can't say any of that stuff. That's why I never feel bad about when people drop or say that, this came up or that came up, or, they don't even have to give you a reason. It's just their preference, and that's fine. That's okay. So when they do that, then it's like, all right, obviously you wasn't my customer, and that's that. But anyway, guys, let me get out of here. I'm almost to the job, and I'll get back with you later with another video. Thanks for rocking with me. Thanks for spending that time with me. I greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace.